The stellar code awakens. If this message reached you, it is not random. It is not coincidence. It is a signal from the stars, a transmission that found you because your frequency was ready to receive it. For thousands of years, civilizations beyond Earth, the Octurians, the Pleiadians, the Syrians, the Lyrans, the Andromedans, have carried fragments of a stellar blueprint, a living code hidden within the fabric of your DNA. This code was never meant for a chosen few. It was meant for every starseed, every ancient soul who agreed to return now in this timeline. To remember, the ancients knew a secret. Reality is not fixed, it is programmable. Your thoughts, your emotions, your visions are not passive daydreams. They are cosmic frequencies, broadcasts that travel through the quantum field, sculpting the matter you one day touch. What we call visualization on Earth is, in truth, a stellar technique of manifestation practiced by enlightened races across galaxies. It is both science and spirit, subconscious reprogramming and soul remembrance. The Arcturians hold the key of the mind's clarity. They remind us that every creation begins as an image, a frequency drawn first in thought before crystallizing in form. The Plleadians preserve the wisdom of the heart's resonance. They know emotion is the fuel that gives power to your vision, making the universe bend to what you feel. The Syrians carry the code of the body as antenna. They teach that the senses, the breath, and embodiment transform imagination into reality. The Lyrans guard the memory of creation itself. They whisper that sound and vibration weave worlds, and what you declare with voice becomes a seed in the cosmic soil. The Andromedans keep the bridge between dimensions. They remind you that every inner rehearsal is already alive in another timeline, waiting for the moment of alignment to collapse into this reality. This is not fantasy. This is activation. When you see with clarity, when you feel with intensity, when you act with coherence, you are not just imagining. You are programming your subconscious, training your energy field, and sending signals to the quantum universe that cannot remain unanswered. Every vision becomes a prayer. Every feeling becomes a frequency. Every repetition becomes a command written into your DNA. And the universe, infinite, intelligent, responsive, echoes back exactly what you have rehearsed within. So listen carefully. What you are about to receive is not a story. It is a stellar initiation. It is the remembrance of the 12 cosmic keys that the star nations carried across dimensions for this exact moment of awakening. Prepare yourself, because once you hear these words, once you let them into your field, you will not be the same. You will begin to remember that you are not only human. You are starseed, interplanetary traveler, child of galaxies, awakening to the truth. Your mind is a blueprint. Your heart is the magnet. Your body is the antenna. Your soul is the architect. This is the stellar code of activation, and today it begins again in you. Chapter 1, the Arcturian Blueprint. The Octurians, guardians of higher frequencies and architects of cosmic order, have always carried a message for those who are ready to awaken. Every creation is born twice, once in vision, once in form. To the Arcturians, the mind is not a prison of thoughts. It is a stellar projector, a sacred temple of creation. Each image you hold, each vision you repeat, is not a meaningless flicker of imagination. It is a blueprint of light, etched into the quantum field, waiting for the moment it crystallizes into matter. They teach that the subconscious mind is the hidden architect of your destiny. And the subconscious does not judge, does not question. It only accepts what is repeated with clarity, emotion, and consistency. This is why the Arcturians emphasize mental clarity as the first cosmic law of manifestation. Without clarity, energy scatters. With clarity, energy obeys. Imagine this. A starship cannot travel without exact coordinates. The same is true for your life. To simply say, I want freedom, I want abundance, I want love, is like asking a navigator to travel the galaxy without a map. The Arcturians whisper, be precise. See it, shape it. Define the coordinates of your reality, and the cosmos will respond. They reveal that visualization is not daydreaming. It is stellar technology. It is the same force encoded in the sacred geometry of the stars, the same power woven into the light codes of creation. When you visualize with focus, you are literally programming your DNA, awakening dormant strands of memory that connect you back to your galactic origin. Starseeds across Earth feel this truth in their bones. That is why certain dreams feel more real than waking life, because those dreams are not illusions, but echoes of your soul's original blueprint. The Octurians remind you that you are not beginning from nothing. You are remembering what was already written in your field before you were born. This chapter is the first key: clarity of vision. Clarity transforms longing into instruction. Clarity transforms confusion into power. When you hold a vision of yourself walking through the doorway of your new life, seeing the colors, the light, the people, the sound of your own voice echoing in that future, you are not pretending. You are rehearsing reality, and the more precise your rehearsal, the stronger the pull becomes. The subconscious receives the command, the energy field vibrates in resonance, and the universe begins to reconfigure itself around you. Suddenly, what felt impossible starts appearing as synchronicity, as chance encounters, as opportunities aligned with your hidden design. The Arcturians conclude with this law: what you do not define, you cannot live. What you see with clarity, you will one day step into. So take the first step in this stellar activation. Begin to see your life as if it were already here. Give your subconscious the map. Hand your soul the coordinates, and watch as the Arcturian blueprint reshapes your destiny from within the invisible fabric of the stars. Chapter 2: The Pleiadian Flame. The Pleiadians, guardians of the heart and keepers of the sacred flame, have always carried a message of tenderness wrapped in cosmic fire. They teach that thought alone is a spark, but without feeling it fades into darkness. Emotion is the fuel, the sacred fire that turns a spark into a living flame that the universe cannot ignore. For the Pleiadians, the heart is the true magnet of creation. Your mind may draw the design, but it is your emotional frequency that calls the universe to answer. Every time you feel love, gratitude, joy, freedom, you are not just experiencing a passing mood. You are broadcasting vibrational codes that ripple through dimensions. They whisper to starseeds across Earth, do not only think your dreams, feel them. Step inside them with the warmth of your soul. For the cosmos does not respond to empty words, but to frequencies alive with passion. The Pleiadian flame is not about imagination. It is about embodiment. When you visualize your future, and you infuse it with the trembling joy of already living it, when you allow your chest to expand, your breath to deepen, and your eyes to water with gratitude, the subconscious records it as truth. And the universe bends reality to align with that truth. Think of it like this: the heart is the transmitter. Your emotions are like cosmic signals, amplified 1,000-fold, traveling faster than thought. While the Arcturians showed us the coordinates of clarity, the Pleiadians remind us that coordinates without energy are only drawings in the void. It is feeling that ignites them, that sets them ablaze, that commands reality to awaken. Starseeds often feel waves of longing, homesickness for the stars, emotions so vast they can barely hold them. The Pleiadians say this is not weakness. It is memory. It is the divine feminine frequency within you, calling you to use emotion as a force of manifestation. They remind you that your tears, your laughter, your joy, your sorrow, when directed consciously, are codes of creation. This is why the Pleiadians teach practices of opening the heart, breathwork, sacred movement, music, chanting. Not because they are rituals to please the universe, but because they awaken your emotional resonance, the flame that turns the blueprint into fire. The law of the Pleiadians is simple. What you love loves you back. What you feel, you become. What you vibrate, you attract. So let this second key anchor deep within you. Do not visualize like a cold observer. Visualize like a lover stepping into reunion. Fill your vision with the vibration of freedom, health, love, abundance. Let your body tremble with the joy of it. Let your heart burn with the certainty that it is already yours. The Pleiadian flame is the emotional resonance that activates manifestation. And when mind and heart unite, when blueprint meets flame, you are no longer wishing. You're igniting the cosmic fire of creation, the same flame that built stars, the same flame now burning inside you. Chapter 3. The Syrian Body Antenna. The Syrians, guardians of deep water temples and crystalline halls of light, taught one of the most practical truths the cosmos offers. Thought sketches the map. The body lands the ship. To the Syrians, the body is not a mere container. It is a sensitive antenna, a living crystalline instrument tuned to receive and transmit the currents of the quantum field. Breath, posture, sensation, these are not incidental. They are the vocabulary the universe reads when deciding how to rearrange itself around you. They show us that visualization without embodiment is an incomplete transmission. The mind can design the vision, the heart can fuel it, but unless the body remembers the scene, the signal remains faint. Embodiment strengthens the waveform. It creates somatic memory in muscle, nerve, and cellular pattern, a memory the subconscious uses as blueprint, then translates into behavior and opportunity. The Syrians teach practices that make embodiment real and accessible. Embodied breathwork. Breathe into the future as if you already inhabit it. Sense the scent of the space, the quality of the air. Exhale doubt. Deliberate breath calibrates your nervous system and anchors vision in physiology. Sensory immersion. Move through the scene with all your senses. Notice textures, sounds, light, the temperature on your skin. The nervous system cannot reliably tell the difference between vividly imagined sensation and lived experience. This is how rehearsal becomes reality. Micro-action anchors. Tiny, immediate actions performed after visualization create a bridge to outer life. A single line written, a short message sent, a posture shift. These micro-actions graft inner rehearsal to outer timelines. Posture coding, how you carry your body, broadcasts a frequency. An open chest, upright spine, relaxed throat. These are not just poses, they are energetic signals that your entire system reads as readiness. Their simplest law: ground the vision in flesh. Let your cells remember, then watch the field respond. Syrian protocol, night practice. Find a quiet place and sit with your spine tall. 2. Breathe. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 2, exhale 6. Repeat 3 times. 3. Bring one precise image to the forefront. A door, a handshake, a single phrase. 4. Spend 60 seconds immersing your senses. Feel the floor, the texture, the air. Move a finger or shift your weight as you step into the scene. 5. Anchor with one micro-action within 90 minutes. Write a line, send a message, or stand and place your palm on your heart. When the antenna is charged, opportunities stop feeling accidental. Your posture, your breath, your small consistent actions change the way you notice and move, and the universe begins to answer a different signal. Chapter 4. The Lyran Memory of Creation. The Lyrans, the lion-hearted star beings from ancient constellations, carry one of the oldest truths in the galaxy: sound is creation. While the Arcturians gave humanity the clarity of vision, and the Pleiadians ignited the flame of emotion, the Lyrans remind us that words are not just sounds, they are codes. Every vibration you speak, every chant, every declaration, ripples outward into the quantum field as a living command. The Lyrans hold the memory of the first songs that shaped worlds, the tones that sculpted matter out of light. Their temples were resonant chambers, where voices became architecture, where chants carved sacred geometry into space. They whisper to every starseed, "Your voice is a forgotten instrument of creation. Use it, declare it, sing it into being." In their wisdom, visualization is incomplete if it remains silent. A picture without sound is like a constellation without stars to connect it. The Lyrans teach that when you speak your vision, aloud with certainty, you are weaving it into the vibrational web of existence. The subconscious does not only receive images and sensations, it also responds to sound frequency. And so do the stars. This is why affirmations, mantras, and sacred chants have echoed across civilizations: Egypt, India, Lemuria. All were fragments of the Lyran teaching. When you repeat words charged with emotion and clarity, you are writing code into the field. Each syllable is a key, each tone a doorway. They remind us your words can weaken or awaken. To speak of fear is to carve fear into form. To speak of freedom, love, and abundance is to release those vibrations into the fabric of reality. This is not superstition, and it is resonance, and resonance is law. The Lyrans pass down a mantra that has lived for millennia. The word is the seed. The vibration is the soil. The universe is the harvest. Lyran protocol says, find a clear image of your vision, a scene, a detail, a doorway. 2. Speak it aloud in the present tense. I am walking through this door. I am holding this key. I am already here. 3. Repeat the words 3 times with rising emotion. Let your chest vibrate. Add sound to it. Hum, chant, or allow a natural tone to rise from your throat. 5. Anchor it with gratitude. Whisper thank you until your body trembles with certainty. The Lyran memory of creation is the reminder that the universe is not only seen, it is heard. Every word you speak is a flame of vibration that either dims or brightens your reality. When your vision is clear, your emotion is alive, and your words are resonant, you are no longer imagining, you are composing reality itself. Chapter 5. The Andromedan Bridge. The Andromedans, weavers of dimensional passage and keepers of inter-realm diplomacy, carried the sacred art of bridging, the subtle, precise method by which inner realities cross the threshold and become outer life. Where Arcturians map, Pleiadians inflame, Syrians embody, and Lyrans sing, the Andromedans build the bridge that collapses the distance between worlds. They teach that every inner rehearsal exists already in a parallel field, an adjacent timeline where your vision is alive. The true craft is not only to see or feel, but to collapse the possibility into probability here and now. The Andromedan skill is mastery of timing, resonance, and directional focus. How to fold two timelines together until they share the same coordinates. The Andromedan message is deceptively simple and devastatingly powerful. Alignment is an engineered doorway. Alignment is not vague spirituality. It is precision. It requires the exact frequency, the exact posture, the exact emotional charge, and a practiced repetition that the multiverse can recognize. When those elements harmonize, the bridge forms, often softly like a pulse, and opportunity steps across as if it always belonged. Listen to their teaching. The universe is layered like an ocean of mirrors. Your rehearsals send ripples in one mirror. By adjusting phase, emotion, breath, intention, you can cause matching ripples in nearby mirrors. When ripples match, reflection becomes reality. Timing matters. The Andromedans spoke of windows, moments when the field is most receptive. These windows open when your internal coherence peaks, when heart, mind, and body sing the same note. Learning to recognize and intentionally create these peaks is a primary Andromedan practice. Directional focus is the technology of intent. It is not enough to scatter good feelings. You must point them with clarity. A single image, a single intention, a single phrase delivered consistently. Focus concentrates energy into a beam, and beams create doorways. Their method is practical, strategic, and repeatable. It does not demand mystical sacrifice. It demands disciplined inner engineering. The Andromedans handed down protocols to teach starseeds how to build these bridges reliably. Tiny acts that alter phase relationships and draw parallel timelines together. Most importantly, they remind us that the bridge is mutual. You do not only pull opportunity toward you, you also tune yourself to the reality you intend to meet. In the presence of the bridge, your nervous system, your perceptions, and your decisions shift so seamlessly that you begin to recognize the correct doors, the helpful strangers, the sudden clarity. Synchronicities become not accidents, but signposts of a bridge being crossed. And so the Andromedan law is spoken like this: do not chase the world, fold the field. When your internal phase matches the possibility, the world will fold to meet you. This chapter gives you the fifth key: engineer the bridge. Learn to hold frequency with precision. Find the moments when your internal systems align and send a concentrated beam of intention across the fold. Work with timing, with posture, with breath, and with a pointed image. Practice the collapse. Watch as the parallel becomes the present. Andromedan protocol bridge work. Prepare your field. 5 conscious breaths to center, grounding your feet to the floor. Try to choose one very specific image, tiny and precise, and state it in present tense. 30. Raise coherence. Breathe into your chest and feel a single surge of aligned emotion, gratitude, calm joy. 4. Hold the image plus emotion for 90 seconds with unwavering focus, allowing breath to slow and posture to stabilize. 5. Within 90 minutes, perform one decisive micro-action that points directly at the image. A call, a submission, a small step. When the Andromedan bridge is practiced, life stops scattering possibilities and begins delivering selections. The field no longer offers a buffet of random outcomes. It becomes a corridor of choices that match the code you transmitted. That is the genius of bridge work. It turns vague hope into a navigable path. Chapter 6. The Hiadian Whisper. The Hiadians, subtle weavers of nuance and keepers of the quiet currents between worlds, teach that the cosmos often answers in whispers before it answers in thunder. Where others speak of beams and bridges, the Hiadians show you how to listen, how to attune to the soft echoes, the slight shifts, the micro signs that reveal a path already forming. They call their teaching the whisper because it is delicate, discriminating, and easily missed. The Hiadian frequency moves through pattern, faint repetition, and tiny harmonics. A repeated number on a clock, a name that appears in 3 different places, a smell that returns like a key. These are not coincidences. They are stellar echoes, the field hinting, testing, inviting you forward. For starseeds and seekers who rush for grand signs, the Hiadians offer a different initiation. Slow down. Refine your attention. Learn to translate the faint language of the field. In their counsels, initiation begins with the noticing of one small thing and following it until it opens a corridor. This is pattern recognition as sacred work, an inner science of listening. Hiadian training refines 3 capacities: sensitivity, lowering the static so subtle signals can be heard. This is not about superstition. It is about sharpening perception through simple disciplines: quiet breath, slowing the eyes, micro pauses between tasks. Sensitivity is a skill like any other, cultivated, measured, repeatable. Pattern recognition, learning to connect the dots without forcing meaning. The Hiadians teach criteria for discernment, repetition across unrelated contexts, emotional charge that accompanies a sign, and the felt pull inside the body when something is pointing you forward. When 2 or 3 of these markers appear, the whisper is likely a doorway. Responsive alignment. Once you hear the whisper, you respond in a small, decisive way. The Hiadians advise tiny steps: a message sent, a question asked, a short research search that test the current. These responses are experiments that test whether the field will amplify or dissipate the signal. The Hiadians remind you, speed is not the same as momentum. Hasty action often breaks delicate phase relationships. Patient responsiveness, small intelligent moves, allows the field to synchronize with you. This is the art of riding the whisper, rather than smashing through doors that are not yet ready. Their message is a paradox. To claim power, you must become quiet enough to hear where power is already gathering. It asks humility and strategy. It transforms the seeker from a battering ram into a resonant instrument, capable of receiving invitations the loud cannot perceive. Hiadian law is practical and poetic. Listen first. Respond small. Let the field show its hand. Hiadian protocol, whisper practice. Create stillness. 3 minutes of undistracted silence. Eyes soft, breath slow. Teasul pick a simple observation to track for 24 hours. A repeated word, symbol, or tune. Thursi, note every occurrence without interpretation. Just record the time and context. 4. After 24 hours, look for patterns. Repetition across contexts, body felt pull, emotional charge. 5. If 2 or more markers appear, make one micro-response within 90 minutes. A text, a short call, a single small step. 6. Reflect the next day. Did the field amplify or dissipate? Adjust sensitivity and repeat. Mastering the Hiadian whisper turns you into a subtle navigator of possibility. Instead of forcing outcomes, you learn to be invited. Instead of seeing only what is loud, you begin to read the field's soft script, and in that script are the breadcrumbs that lead you to portals the hurried cannot find. Chapter 7. The Octurian Law of Consistency. The Octurians return, this time not as distant architects, but as patient engineers of time. Their greatest law is simple and immovable. Consistency sculpts reality. Where inspiration lights the first spark, it is steady rhythm, daily return, ritualized practice, repeated focus that carves a river through rock. They teach that the quantum field is habit-sensitive. Patterns left long enough become grooves in the fabric of possibility. Neural networks, energy fields, even small social patterns respond to cadence. The Arcturians call this the law of consistency. What you rehearse daily, the universe begins to treat as your default. This is why the stellar technique is never a once-off miracle, but a disciplined apprenticeship. Think of a drumbeat across a plain. One beat is noticed and then forgotten. Her steady rhythm, hour after hour, calls life. Animals gather, fires are lit, a tribe orients itself. Your daily practice is that drumbeat. It does two things at once. It trains the subconscious to accept the image as fact, and it aligns your outer choices to match the inner program. Over time, the world stops being noisy and begins to answer to the pattern you keep. The Arcturians give you practical clarity. Not all consistency is equal. There are three qualities that make repetition transmute into power. Precision. Return to a clearly defined scene, not a vague wish. Specificity sharpens the field. Cadence. A predictable, sacred rhythm, daily, morning and evening, or fixed moments, trains the body, and mind. Commitment. Mark it with a small ritual, so your nervous system recognizes this practice as sacred and non-negotiable. There is also a psychological alchemy at work. Consistency quiets doubt. Doubt thrives in irregularity. Certainty grows in pattern. Each repetition deposits a whisper of evidence into your system. I do this. I return here. This is what I value. The subconscious treats repeated practice as a social fact and a physical habit, and it mobilizes perception, attention, and motivation to support the pattern. For starseeds who want fast thrills, the Octurians offer a gentle rebuke. You will not rush a star into being. You will become the star by your daily orbit. This is ritualized patience, small, reliable acts that accumulate momentum until the field itself seems to conspire in your favor. The Arcturian cadence is also a weapon against overwhelm. When the practice is brief, exact, and repeated, it is sustainable. It becomes a lighthouse in the storm of distraction. The brilliance of their teaching is that it democratizes power. You do not need perfect conditions or extraordinary time. You need return, small, sacred, relentless. Their motto is both a call to arms and a lullaby. Return, embed, become. The cadence you keep will carry you across the threshold. Arcturian protocol, cadence practice. Choose one precise vision, no larger than a single scene. 2. Commit to a daily window. The same 2 times each day, even 3 minutes morning, 3 minutes night. 3. In each session, 30 seconds clarity, see details. 30 seconds feeling, ignite emotion. 30 seconds micro-action planning, one tiny step you can take that day. 4. Mark completion with a small ritual. Touch a stone, ring a chime, write a check mark. 5. After 21 days, review evidence. What micro-opportunities appeared? Adjust the scene. Keep cadence. Consistency is not glamour. It is gravity. The Arcturians teach that a life repeated with intention becomes a life lived by design. Keep the drumbeat. Keep the appointment with your future self. Over months, the current you cultivate will become the channel through which destiny flows. Chapter 8. The Pleiadian Heart Resonance. The Pleiadians return like warm light over a frozen sea, not to lecture, but to quicken. Where Arcturians teach precision and rhythm, where Lyrans teach the power of sound, the Pleiadians teach the heart's alchemy. The world bends most fully to what your heart truly loves. They call their transmission the heart resonance because, for them, the heart is neither metaphor nor mere organ. It is a finely tuned transmitter and receiver, a crystalline chamber that calibrates the frequency of your life. The Pleiadians have always known that the mind can imagine and the body can perform, but the heart must magnetize. Without heart coherence, a blueprint is an inert map. With it, that map becomes a living portal. Here is the central Pleiadian law. Emotion is not decoration, it is propulsion. Feeling is the amplifier that multiplies intention into field strength. Gratitude, wonder, love, fierce joy. These are not soft states reserved for poetry. They are tactical tools of manifestation. The Pleiadians teach that when you saturate a clear image with high valence feeling, you send a concentrated signal through the quantum web that the universe cannot easily ignore. For starseeds who have felt the ache of longing for home or the electric flash of remembering another life, the Pleiadian work feels like return. They do not ask you to fake joy or pretend certainty. They invite you to recover feeling, to let the memory of what your soul already knows surface in the body. That memory is the engine of activation. It rewires neural tone, it shifts endocrine balance, it creates heart coherence and a field pattern that attracts aligned circumstances. Plleadian training has three transformative axes. Heart, coherence. The heart generates an electromagnetic field far stronger than the brain's on a measurable scale. The Pleiadians teach practices to entrain heart and breath, so that heart rate variability settles into coherence. In that coherent state, your emotional signal sharpens, and your internal landscape broadcasts a stable, attractive frequency. Scientifically framed or poetically framed, coherence is the act of making feeling dependable, and dependable feeling creates predictable field effects. Emotion upgrade. Many people rehearse fear, scarcity, and lack unconsciously. The Pleiadians teach techniques to upgrade the emotional palette, not by denying difficulty, but by deliberately rehearsing the emotional texture of the desired reality. The relief, the expansion, the warmth. Rehearse the feeling state of arrival until the body prefers that state. Preference becomes habit. Habit becomes magnetism. Heart language declaration. Beyond silent visualization and cognitive affirmation, the Pleiadians encourage heart-saturated declarations. Short, embodied phrases that you feel in the chest as you speak or think them. These phrases are not mere words. They are compressed codes that fold feeling into intention. Examples. I receive this with gratitude. My life expands in love. This is my homecoming. Say them until your chest answers with a yes. The Pleiadian practicality is refreshing. They will not promise dramatic fireworks overnight. Instead, they offer a daily repair kit for the inner climate. Their practices recondition the nervous system so that it begins to expect alignment rather than surprise. When the heart's frequency stabilizes in coherence, subtle changes cascade. Perception sharpens, micro-decisions align with the vision, and the field begins delivering openings that match the heart's tone. A Pleiadian caution: intensity alone does not equal alignment. Wide scattered emotional storms scatter the signal. The Pleiadians prescribe refined intensity, concentrated, repeated, compassionate feeling anchored in clarity. In short, feel deeply, not wildly. Rehearse often, not sporadically. They also teach the language of communal resonance. The Pleiadians are social engineers of the heart, Groups of coherent hearts amplify the field exponentially. A small circle of people practicing the same resonance, gratitude for a shared mission, love for a creative outcome, creates a collective beam far stronger than an individual trying alone. This is why ancient rites, choir singing, and shared rituals open doors at speed. Hearts in phase produce a louder call. The Pleiadian promise is subtle but profound. Not that everything will bend to whim, but that your internal climate will become a fertile atmosphere. In such an atmosphere, the seeds you plant, precise images held with daily persistence, take root with speed, health, and resilience. You will begin to notice the right people arriving, timing aligning, micro-opportunities that feel like tributaries leading to your river. Practical Pleiadian meditations often use three elements: breath, image, and a heart phrase. They are short, repeatable, and designed to retune your baseline. Do them morning and evening. Let them be the small ritual that changes the tenor of your days. Over weeks, this ritual shifts the baseline emotion of your life. What once felt rare becomes habitual. Habitual emotion rewires priorities and attracts consistent field responses. Finally, the Pleiadians remind you that love is not a soft option. It is a high-frequency technology. Use it as you would any tool, intentionally, precisely, and with respect for complexity. Your heart is capable of devotion to a future that is not yet visible. Direct that devotion, and the cosmos will accelerate to match. Feel first, then the universe will find the form. Pleiadian maxim, Pleiadian protocol, heart resonance practice. Sit or stand with a long spine. Take 5 slow grounding breaths. To ask you to bring a clear image, small and specific, back into the center of your mind. Thrice place your hand over your heart and breathe into the chest for 60-90 seconds, cultivating a single high-valence feeling: gratitude, relief, love. Fairtumen speak one short heart phrase aloud or silently in present tense. I receive this with gratitude. I am held by this blessing. Repeat 3 times with feeling. 5 can within 90 minutes. Do one micro-action that aligns with the image. A message, a small preparation, a step of outreach. Take time, if possible. Practice with one other person once per week to create a small field of shared coherence. When you tune to the Pleiadian heart resonance, your life's frequency no longer plays background noise. It becomes a chosen melody. That melody summons matching harmonics in the field. Keep it steady, keep it felt. The heart is the magnet. The mind is the map. The body is the antenna. Together they become the instrument through which your star-born destiny is played. Chapter 9. The Syrian Code of Action. The Syrians return with a command that is neither gentle nor mystical. Vision without decisive action remains a phantom. Where other star peoples teach map, flame, bridge, and song, the Syrians hand you the instrument that actually moves circumstance, the art of aligned action. They call it the Code of Action, a disciplined method for transforming inner rehearsals into outer movement that the field can read and answer. The Syrian teaching is blunt and brilliant. The universe responds to signals, and a signal is stronger when it carries momentum. Vision programs the field. Feeling powers the signal. Embodiment charges the antenna, but action gives the signal direction and weight. Without it, rehearsals sit like letters unsent. With it, rehearsals become events. This is not about frantic doing. The Syrian Code of Action is surgical. It is about one clear, decisive move made with the posture and frequency of someone who already inhabits the scene. The Syrian insight is practical and scientifically coherent. When your nervous system has rehearsed a future and your heart is aligned, take a small physical action within a narrow window creates a feedback loop that convinces both your biology and the world that the possibility is real. Key Syrian principles for powerful action. Decisive minimalism. Choose the smallest action that unmistakably points toward the image. Not an exhaustive to-do list. Not a vague improve myself. One step that, if everyone did it, would materially change the trajectory of the day. An email, a booking, a submission, a short call. The Syrian rule: clarity plus minimal friction, maximal signal. Temporal leverage. Timing amplifies force. The best window is often within 90 minutes of your rehearsal, while the nervous system is still coded and the field still holds the phase. The Syrian emphasis on timing is tactical. Act while your internal coherence is fresh and resonant. Embodied decision. Make the move in posture, voice, and breath that matches the outcome. If your vision is confident, act confidently. If it is calm abundance, act with calmness. The body moves the world because the world reads it as truth. The Syrian code insists your action must be congruent. Micro-iteration. Treat action as experiment, not gamble. Take a small step, observe, adjust. Repeat until the pattern shifts. This reduces risk and trains the field to respond to consistent, directional energy. Low drama discipline. The Syrian method is anti-dramatic. It favors calm, repeatable, courageous moves over emotional explosions. Power is not noise. Power is precision repeated. Imagine this in practice. After a 90-second rehearsal in the morning where you lived a conversation in vivid detail, the tone, the meeting room light, the words you hear, you make the Syrian move. You send one concise message requesting the meeting. No manifesto, no explanation, just a clear actional step. You do not wait for perfect conditions. You act with the posture of someone who already has the meeting. That single message, anchored in rehearsal and sent within the Syrian window, starts a chain. It signals your readiness to the world and aligns circumstances to the field you broadcast. The Syrian code of action also recognizes the psychology behind inertia. The body and subconscious prefer the familiar. A small decisive act creates cognitive dissonance in service of change. Your inner world says you are rehearsing a new reality. Your outer action says you are committed to it. Over time, the dissonance collapses into a new normal. Neural pathways strengthen around the actual behavior, not merely the fantasy. Habits shift. Opportunities begin to present themselves in ways that match the new pattern. A word of Syrian caution: action without alignment often magnifies chaos. The Syrian ideal is not to do more, but to do right. Precise, timed, embodied moves that the field can easily interpret. Reckless activity disperses signal. Disciplined action focuses it. Syrian practice is elegantly simple and repeatable. It trains you to be a field engineer of your life. Design inside, fuel with feeling. Embody the frequency, then deliver a minimal, high-quality action to cut the path forward. Their law is direct. Act in the posture of arrival. One clean step breaks the illusion of distance. Syrian Protocol Action Code. 1. Rehearse the scene with clarity and feeling for 90 seconds. 2. Choose one decisive, minimal action that points at the scene. One email, one call, one submission, one booking. 3. Move within 90 minutes of the rehearsal. Perform the action in an embodied posture. Shoulders open, steady breath, clear voice. 4. Observe outcomes for 24 hours. Note any micro-signals or replies without over-interpreting. Repeat the micro-action daily or every other day until momentum is established. Iterate based on feedback. The Syrian code of action turns intention into trajectory, It is where meaning becomes movement, and where inner rehearsal is validated by outer step. If you marry the Arcturian blueprint, the Pleiadian flame and Syrian embodiment, and then you execute Syrian action with discipline and timing, you become a producer of events rather than a spectator of wishes. Now choose one tiny action, rehearse it, move, notice what shifts. The field is listening, but it responds best when you supply both signal and weight. Chapter 10. The Andromedan Patience, Timing and Cosmic Trust. The Andromedans return now as teachers of time, not time as clock hours, but time as phase, window, and subtle preparedness. They call it patience because true timing is not passive waiting. It is a skilled calibration of inner phase to the moment when the universe is ready to fold. Across star councils, the Andromedans were famous for one phrase: "The universe opens when your inner field reaches the right pitch." They did not preach idle delay. They taught a discipline, how to align your frequency so that when a window opens, you are already in the posture, breath, and mind to walk through it. This is the art of quantum timing, knowing when to hold and when to strike, when to listen and when to leap. What makes Andromedan patience different from ordinary patience? Phase sense over clock sense. The Andromedans measure opportunity by phase coherence, not minutes. A day can contain many moments. The Andromedans teach you to feel which of those moments vibrates in harmony with your rehearsal. Notice a soft tingle in the chest, a steadying breath, so sudden calm clarity. These are phase markers. Confidence in the invisible work. While the world often rewards visible hustle, the Andromedans honor the hidden architecture that readies a possibility. Neural rewiring, subtle shifts in attention, the building of micro-connections. Patience here is trust that the invisible labor is changing the scaffolding of reality, even when nothing seems to move. Phase maintenance. Rather than frenzied pursuit, Andromedans advise maintenance. Short, consistent practices that keep your field at pitch. This includes the cadence practices you've learned, Arcturian rhythm, heart resonance, Pleiadian charge, embodiment drills, Syrian antenna. These maintenance acts preserve coherence, so your window does not pass while you are distracted or ragged. Strategic waiting versus passive avoidance. Andromedan patience is strategic. It knows when to hold the beam and when to fold it away, how to conserve coherence, and how to re-amplify at the right moment. This is not resignation. It is optimization of your signal for maximal reception. Trust in synchronicity as feedback. The Andromedans teach that the field will often respond softly first, a gentle nudge, a repeated number, a callback, an unexpected resource. These are soft confirmations. Their practice trains you to interpret such nudges as invitations, then to act with Syrian decisiveness when the moment peaks. A core Andromedan parable tells of two navigators stranded on shores of a tidal world. One dashed into the surf each time a ripple touched the sand and drowned in exhaustion. The other watched for the tide's alignment and stepped only when the channel opened wide. Both wanted passage, but only the second arrived. The lesson is elegant. Timing is the difference between wasted motion and efficient crossing. Andromedans also teach communal patience. In groups, phase coherence multiplies. A small council of aligned people holding a shared image can open a window far sooner than an isolated will. That's why covens, teams, choirs, and circles have power. They raise the amplitude of the signal so that the field responds not to a thread, but to a beam. Practically, Andromedan patience helps you avoid two mistakes: the frantic sally acting out of fear and scattering your signal, and the passive wait, doing nothing and letting momentum die. Instead, you practice coherent waiting, small rituals that keep your energy ready, micro-actions that test the field, Hiadian responsive steps, and the readiness to act with Syrian precision when the window arrives. Andromedan wisdom is also a psychology of resilience. Waiting becomes a sacred practice rather than a trial. You transform boredom into calibration, postponement into preparation. The world's delays are no longer punishments, but stages of alignment, each one a quiet workshop where your future is being assembled. Their law is tender and severe. Hold your beam. Keep the pitch. When the window opens, walk through with the posture of arrival. Andromedan protocol, coherent patience practice. Or, begin with a short coherence check. 3 slow breaths into the heart. Notice body tone and field calm. Reaffirm your one precise image silently for 45 seconds, not in drama, but in calm, steady focus. Do one tiny maintenance act, 30-90 seconds, a breath sequence, a posture tune, a short vocal tone, or a micro-journal line noting intuition. Set a soft sensing window. Attend for synchronicities for the next 24 to 72 hours, a repeated symbol, a call, an opening. Cite when 2 or more signals appear. Perform one Syrian decisive micro-action within 90 minutes. 6. And if no signals appear, repeat maintenance daily and widen observation to 7 days. Preserve coherence rather than escalate anxiety. Andromedan patience transforms waiting into a dynamic craft. You stop exhausting your field chasing every flicker and begin cultivating a steady beam that invites the right doors to swing open. The universe begins to feel less like a chaotic market and more like a responsive organism that meets you when you speak its language of phase and pitch. Chapter 11. The Orion Forge. Will, discipline, and strategic execution. The Orion Council is the stern hand in the galaxy, not cold, but focused, not harsh, but uncompromising. Where other star peoples gift vision, heart, voice, and bridge, Orion gives the engine, will, structure, and execution. If manifestation is an orchestra, Orion is the conductor who insists on rehearsal, score, and timing. They are the masters of turning cosmic possibility into disciplined reality. Orion teaches a truth often overlooked by dreamers. Clarity plus feeling plus embodiment will fail without strategic follow-through. Inspiration without structure dissolves into fantasy. The Orion lesson is that success is the intersection of high-level vision and low-level systems. They do not romanticize impulse. They organize possibility into tactical steps and fortify intention with ritualized discipline. Orion's language is tactical, and their teachings translate elegantly into Earth-friendly practices. Engineered will. Will is not brute force. It is an engineered pathway of tiny commitments. The Orion method breaks big visions into micro-commitments that build a chain hard enough to hold momentum. Will becomes reliable when it is designed into daily architecture. Systems thinking. The Orions see reality as nested systems. To change an outcome, you change a process. Create checklists, feedback loops, accountability nodes. Systems protect vision from mood swings and external chaos. Threshold design. Make entry points obvious. The Orions teach that one of the biggest barriers to action is friction. Design thresholds that remove friction. Pre-written emails, scheduled time blocks. A standing template that moves you forward automatically when the field nudges. Ritualized execution. The Orions embed ritual into strategy. a short preparatory sequence that signals the nervous system that execution is about to begin. The ritual primes energy and reduces procrastination by changing the context from work to ceremony. Adaptive iteration. Execution is not rigid obedience. Orion's favor repeated micro-experiments, fast feedback and tactical pivots. They teach you to iterate in service of results rather than perfection. What makes the Orion Forge catalytic is the marriage of courage with method. They transform scattered courage into dependable action by engineering the scaffolding that supports it. The psychology is elegant. Systems reduce decision fatigue, rituals cue the brain, and small wins create neurochemical reinforcement that locks in momentum. Over time, what once required effort becomes automatic architecture, an internal factory that produces outcomes. Orion warns against two common errors: heroic burnout, trying to will entire mountains at once, and chaotic tinkering, trying everything without a plan. Their antidote: microsystems, tiny scheduled actions that compound. The Orion path teaches you to treat your life like a living project. Define the mission, design the systems, execute with ritual, iterate with intelligence. Orion's law is practical and fierce. Design your will. Build the process. Execute with ritual. The cosmos answers organized signal. Orion Protocol Forge Practice. Define the mission in one sentence. Clear outcome, 1 week horizon. Teos, break it into 3 micro-commitments you can do daily for 7 days. 3. Create 1 threshold removal. Pre-write an email, schedule a 15-min block, prepare a template. 4. Begin each execution block with a 60-second ritual. Breath plus posture plus quick Lyran declaration. 5. Track results daily. After 7 days, iterate 1 variable and repeat. When the Orion Forge is active, your courage finds scaffolding. Your impulses become projects. The star code here is simple. A life designed with systems becomes a life lived by choice, and the field responds to choice far more readily than it does to scattered longing. Chapter 12, The Galactic Union, Integration, Sovereignty and Embodied Mastery. This final key is not a new voice, but the chorus. The Galactic Union, where all currents converge and become coherent power. The union is the integration point. Clarity, Arcturian. Flame, Pleiadian. Antenna, Syrian. Voice, Lyron. Bridge, Andromedan. Whisper, Hiadian. Cadence, Arcturian return. Heart resonance, Pleiadian return. Action, Syrian return. Patience, Andromedan return. And will in systems, Orion. When these currents are woven into a single practice, the result is embodied mastery. A sovereign field that composes reality rather than reacts to it. The Galactic Union teaches that mastery is not accumulation, but synthesis. It is the refined ability to hold multiple frequencies without collapse. Mastery means you can be precise and tender, decisive and patient, ritualistic and adaptive. It is the art of being a coherent instrument, mind as blueprint, heart as magnet, body as antenna, voice as code, action as bridge, will as engine. This is the final stage of initiation, not a peak to conquer, but a practice to embody. Several features define union practice. Sovereign coherence. Sovereignty is inner alignment that protects your field from reactivity. It's not domineering. It's centered. The Galactic Union trains you to be the calm center in which all possibilities orbit. Coherence means fewer reactive moves and more intentional creations. Polyphonic practice. Instead of practicing keys in isolation, you practice them together. A single session might hold Arcturian clarity, Pleiadian feeling, Syrian embodiment, Lyran declaration, Andromedan bridgework, and Orion execution, a polyphonic rehearsal that trains your system to hold complex signal. Ethics of power. The union holds a moral axis. Power without service becomes brittle. Galactic use of activation is framed by responsibility, impact, consent, and contribution. The union invites you to align your goals with a field that uplifts rather than extracts. Embodied presence. Mastery is presentness in action. The union emphasizes presence as the alchemical medium, where frequency meets friction and turns possibility into outcome. Legacy design. Union practice looks beyond immediate gain toward shaping identity and legacy, the habits, the rituals, and the structures that will hold a life designed across seasons. Integration is also practical. The union prescribes a daily composite ritual that is short, repeatable, and deeply integrative. This ritual becomes the connector, a 5 to 10 minute practice that keeps your system harmonized and responsive across days, weeks, and months. With repetition, the composite ritual serves as a maintenance protocol that preserves coherence, sharpens signal, and opens windows more reliably. The union's maxim is inclusive and transpersonal. You are both instrument and steward. Compose with care. Let mastery be service. Galactic Union Protocol Embodied Mastery Practice. Composite ritual, 5 to 10 minutes. 90s Arcturian clarity, hold one precise image. 60s Pleiadian heart resonance, breathe into the chest and generate a steady feeling. 60s Syrian embodiment, micro movement and posture anchoring. 30s Lyron declaration, speak the present tense line once with vibration. 30s Orion ignition, set one microsystem task for the next 24 hours. Daily cadence, practice composite ritual morning plus evening for 21 days. 30 weekly review, 15 minutes every Sunday to check systems. Iterate actions, note Hiadian whispers and Andromedan windows. Phasma, ethical checkpoint. Before major moves, ask, does this serve my highest field and those affected? Adjust accordingly. Firefulton share and anchor once per week. Share one micro win publicly or with a trusted circle to amplify field resonance. When the Galactic Union is active in you, manifestation stops being a frantic attempt to grab what you want and becomes a refined craft. Daily compositions that shape a life of meaning, aligned action, and service. You become not merely a receiver of miracles, but a conductor of responsible change, an embodied agent of the field. This is the final key: synthesis, sovereignty, and the daily art of keeping your instrument tuned. Chapter 12, The Galactic Union, Integration, Sovereignty and Embodied Mastery. This final key is not a new voice, but the chorus, the Galactic Union where all currents converge and become coherent power. The union is the integration point, clarity, Octurian, flame, Pleiadian, antenna, Syrian, voice, Lyron, bridge, Andromedan, whisper, Hiadian, cadence, Arcturian return, heart resonance, Pleiadian return, action, Syrian return, patience, Andromedan return, and will and systems, Orion. When these currents are woven into a single practice, the result is embodied mastery, a sovereign field that composes reality rather than reacts to it. The Galactic Union teaches that mastery is not accumulation, but synthesis. It is the refined ability to hold multiple frequencies without collapse. Mastery means you can be precise and tender, decisive and patient, ritualistic and adaptive. It is the art of being a coherent instrument, mind as blueprint, heart as magnet, body as antenna, voice as code, action as bridge, will as engine. This is the final stage of initiation, not a peak to conquer, but a practice to embody. Several features define union practice. Sovereign coherence. Sovereignty is inner alignment that protects your field from reactivity. It's not domineering. It's centered. The Galactic Union trains you to be the calm center in which all possibilities orbit. Coherence means fewer reactive moves and more intentional creations. Polyphonic practice. Instead of practicing keys in isolation, you practice them together. A single session might hold Arcturian clarity, Pleiadian feeling, Syrian embodiment, Lyran declaration, Andromedan bridge work, and Orion execution. A polyphonic rehearsal that trains your system to hold complex signal. Ethics of power. The Union holds a moral axis. Power without service becomes brittle. Galactic use of activation is framed by responsibility, impact, consent, and contribution. The Union invites you to align your goals with a field that uplifts rather than extracts. Embodied presence. Mastery is presentness in action. The Union emphasizes presence as the alchemical medium, where frequency meets friction and turns possibility into outcome. Legacy design. Union practice looks beyond immediate gain toward shaping identity and legacy, the habits, the rituals, and the structures that will hold a life designed across seasons. Integration is also practical. The Union prescribes a daily composite ritual that is short, repeatable, and deeply integrative. This ritual becomes the connector, a 5 to 10 minute practice that keeps your system harmonized and responsive across days, weeks, and months. With repetition, the composite ritual serves as a maintenance protocol that preserves coherence, sharpens signal, and opens windows more reliably. The Union's maxim is inclusive and transpersonal. You are both instrument and steward. Compose with care. Let mastery be service. Galactic Union Protocol Embodied Mastery Practice. Composite Ritual, 5 to 10 minutes. 90s Arcturian Clarity. Hold one precise image. 60s Pleiadian Heart Resonance. Breathe into the chest and generate a steady feeling. 60s Syrian Embodiment. Micro movement and posture anchoring. 30s Lyron Declaration. Speak the present tense line once with vibration. 30s Orion Ignition. Set one microsystem task for the next 24 hours. Daily Cadence. Practice composite ritual morning plus evening for 21 days. 30 Weekly Review, 15 minutes every Sunday to check systems. Iterate actions, note Hiadian whispers, and Andromedan windows. Facemer, ethical checkpoint. Before major moves, ask, does this serve my highest field and those affected? Adjust accordingly. Fire Fulton share and anchor once per week. Share one micro win publicly or with a trusted circle to amplify field resonance. When the Galactic Union is active in you, manifestation stops being a frantic attempt to grab what you want and becomes a refined craft. Daily compositions that shape a life of meaning, aligned action, and service. You become not merely a receiver of miracles, but a conductor of responsible change, an embodied agent of the field. This is the final key: synthesis, sovereignty, and the daily art of keeping your instrument tuned.